Okay, this is a 1-year follow-up on my Della mini split up there. So I installed that mini split in early May of 2024. I've been very happy with it so far. It's worked great. There's only one little issue I've got with it, and that's with the remote. The unit's working really good. A lot of people have asked me questions and put comments on the videos I did asking if I like it, was it a good value for the money? And I understand that. I mean, if you're going to spend $700 or more on anything, especially in air conditioning, you want to know it's not going to tear up, you know, that it's going to last. So here's the unit I bought, the Della Vario. It's supposed to cool a 550 square foot room. So I've got it in my garage. My garage is roughly 650 square feet. I've got my garage doors insulated with these foam panels that you can buy at most hardware stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon, other places. So you see on the unit right there, it says 61 degrees. That doesn't tell you what the temperature is in here. That's what the temperature is trying to achieve. And pretty much when I turn it on, I just keep it turned down to the lowest temperature possible, because when I get out here, I don't want to have to come out and wait 2 hours for it to cool down. So I turn it up maximum and just let it run. So the one oddity I've got with the unit is with a remote. Sometimes when you push the power button, that's that button right there. Sometimes you push the power button on the remote and nothing happens. And I've replaced batteries. You know, I thought maybe since the LED on the back of it is sort of inset, maybe I'm holding it at the wrong angle or something, but that's not it. Sometimes it just doesn't work. I would say 99% of the time it works fine. And I've been very, very happy with this unit. The equivalent Mr. Cool unit, and I started to buy the Mr. Cool unit, the equivalent unit was $1,099, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Anyhow, it's been great. It works with my telephone. I use it with Google Home and Google Assistant, and I schedule it to turn on and off at different times, and I'm gonna show you that too. In fact, this unit has works with Alexa and Google Home, where the Mr. Cool unit does not. And that's one of the key factors for me in buying it, is that I could use it with Google Home, and I could schedule it to turn on at a certain time, which has been really good. I like that because I work during the day on the day job, and if I want to come out to the garage and do something, say at 5:30 or 6 p.m., this garage door faces the evening sun, so it gets really hot. And if I want to come out here, I don't want the garage to be 100 degrees, so I can set the air condition to come on a schedule at 4 p.m. By the time I come to the garage at 5:30 or 6, the garage is nice and cool, and I can come out and watch TV or do work on my stuff or whatever. And anyhow, the Della's been great for me. The two issues I've got with it are probably that sometimes the remote doesn't work, and there's really no way to contact Della. And I'm going to show you that in just a minute. So if you buy one of these, I'm not going to give a recommendation of buy on this. What I'm going to say is it's done great for me. If you buy one, what you need to know is you're probably not going to be able to get in touch with the company. And I've tried. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. But so far, it's been working great. I have had other mini splits before. I bought one a couple of years ago that lasted for one summer and then broke. It just couldn't take the heat in central Mississippi where I live. The Della unit ran all summer last summer, ran great, kept the garage really cool, and it has a heat pump in it, so it ran really good over the winter too. I used to use space heaters or a little Mr. Buddy gas heater in the garage. Now I just turn on the Della heat pump, and it does a great job. It warms the garage up, and it's very comfortable out here year-round, summer and winter. All right, so let's look at the Amazon ad and talk a little bit about it. Okay, so here's the unit I bought. I bought the Della Vario 12,000 BTU, 19 SEER, and by the way, 19 SEER is okay. The higher the SEER rating, the more energy efficient it is. SEER means seasonal energy efficiency. I don't know what the 2 stands for. So it says it cools up to 550 square feet, and that's a decent unit. So you can see here I bought it on May the 4th, 2024. So my unit was $709 when I bought it. Now it's $729.96. So I thought I would go and compare this to the equivalent Mr. Cool. So the Mr. Cool unit is $1,099. So what is that, $370 difference? Mr. Cool is actually a better brand. It's definitely more expensive, higher quality. And there's one big difference between Mr. Cool and Della, which I'll get to in just a second. So this is the same equivalent system, 12,000 BTU, 19 SEER, 150 volt install. So when I was looking at at a line, one of the things when I'm going to spend this amount of money, one of the things I want to know is, can I get in contact with somebody in case there's a problem? There's no way to contact them through Amazon. Some Amazon ads have a contact merchant or ask merchant a question or some other link like that where you can click on it and chat with the merchant or send them a message. There's nothing like that on the Della website. However, you can see it's sold by Align Inc. So if I click on Align Inc. here on Amazon, I can go down and I can see their reviews, see some other information about them. So I found their address right here on Amazon, all right? So I decided I would go look them up. So I went to LinkedIn. I think I actually did a Google search first. I went to LinkedIn and I found some information about Align. So they're an importer. They sell Belize, Della, Arxon, and I think they have one more. Here's their website and here's a phone number for them. So I decided I'll call that phone number and see if that phone number actually goes to a live person. So I'm going to call it while I'm doing the video and let you see. 909-595-5901.
Is not available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
So that recording is what I've gotten every time. So I'm going to call one more time.
Is not available to take your call.
So you always either get the recording that is not available to take your call, or it just rings and nobody ever picks up. All right, so I did find another contact phone number for them. So I went to the Della homepage and I found this 1-800 phone number. So I'm going to call this now and let you see what happens when you call that phone number. There it is right there on my phone, 800-863-4143.
Is not available to take your call.
Same exact thing. So I said, all right, I'll call it one more time.
Is not available to...
Same thing. So I've called them probably 10 times on each phone number. Never gotten anybody on the phone. I also did a live chat. Nobody ever responded. I did not try to connect with them over Facebook or Instagram. If you chat with them right here, you can go and click chat with us and you can ask them a question. Well, this is just an AI that answers the question. I don't think a live person ever comes on there. So the big difference between Della and Mr. Cool is if you call Mr. Cool, and I did call him, they actually answer the phone. You can actually talk to a person where you cannot talk to a person at Della. Also, if you scroll to the bottom of this page, there's a feedback form or a contact form. I'm sorry, a comment form. I made a comment a couple of days ago. I put in my name, email, and message, and I've never heard back from them. And I suspect I won't. This probably is something they put on there just so people can send them comments, and it may not even be monitored. But I never heard back from them. Anyhow, there's a little bit of information about Della. I just like people to understand if you're going to buy something, if you're going to spend that much money, can you communicate with a company and, are they a company that'll make good on the product if something goes wrong? Overall, I've been very happy with the Della unit. I have no complaints other than I'm not able to get in touch with them. Okay, I've got a newbie infrared thermometer here. Let's see how warm Jaxie is. How hot are you? All right, so he is 92.8. So now let's look at the temperature coming out of the Della air condition. Put the laser beam right up inside of it. So 60.6. Let's do it again over here. Over there is 58.2. So the Della unit has to put out air colder than 61 if it's going to get the temperature down to 61. So it does put out really cold air. So it's working great. Okay, to open the front of it up, you pull both sides. It should come open pretty easy. Pop it up one more time, and if you let it go, it should hold in place. I'm going to go ahead and hold it up where you can see better. So this thing right there is the Wi-Fi module. So if you want to reset the Wi-Fi module, you push that black button with a screwdriver and you hold it in for about 5 seconds and release it. When you do that, it's going to also reset the IP address of the unit, so you're going to have to go through the whole reset process or the whole Wi-Fi setup process all over again. To get the app, by the way, sometimes this door is sort of hard to get to close. To get that app, you can scan this tag with your telephone and it will download the app from the App Store, the Apple App Store, or the Google Play Store. So also while I'm up here, let me show you something. Once in a while, you need to come and clean the top of it because bugs can get up here. Like I've got it in my garage. You may not have that problem if it's in a house, but spiders get up here. They make cobwebs or spider webs, and you just need to clean it once in a while. What I do is get up here with my vacuum cleaner, my shop vac, and I just sort of suck off the stuff off the top. There's a screen in here. Don't puncture or hit that screen, but just sort of hold your vacuum and go lightly across the top of it. You can see here there's bugs that get up here. They get up here and they dehydrate and die, and once in a while you need to clean it. So, okay, let's look at the remote. So the remote's got the power button. It's got a mode button. The mode button is what lets you switch between hot, cold, or dehumidifier or fan. It's got a turbo button, which I use a lot. That runs the fan as fast as it can and cools it off. There's a fan button to control the fan speed. You got a swing button, and here's what that's for. So you see this thing right here on the bottom of it? You can make, that's called the swing. You can make that thing flat back and forth or be stationary when it's turned on. So I use the remote a lot for that. Sometimes when I'm standing over here, I'm on the far side of the workbench from the Mr. Cooler. I don't want it blowing straight in my face, so I let it blow towards the ceiling or sometimes down low, but you can control that, and I like that. There's a mute which turns off the sound it makes. There's a timer so you can control how long it's going to stay on. There's display. If you push the display button, the actual numbers on the front will disappear. They'll go off. There's a sleep button, and there's an I feel button, which as far as I can tell doesn't do anything. So I guess there is another issue I have with the Della, and that issue is if I break my remote and if I don't have it set up to work with Google Home or something like that on my telephone, there's no way to control it. There are no controls on there anywhere where you can turn it on, turn it off, or control anything else. I mean, there's just no way to do it. So you've either got to use the remote or your telephone, which is the reason that I've been trying to get in touch with them, because I wanted to get another remote for it, but there's no way to get in touch with them. They haven't responded to my messages, emails, chats, whatever. So I'm going to get to that in a minute. Anyhow, you get these two books when you buy it. You get this one, which has some information in it. Nothing that will really do us a lot of good. You have this Wi-Fi book, which tells you how to set up the Wi-Fi, which all the information in there is good. If you want it to work with your phone, you definitely need that. Okay, since I'm doing a 1-year review on this, let me show you what the outside unit looks like. So after I put the unit in, I bolted it down to these two large bricks, cinder bricks on the ground. You notice how the grass is dead all around the unit, so I keep weed killer and grass killer sprayed around it so that I don't have to weed eat. I don't want the weed eater to tear up the insulation on it, so I don't want that insulation to end up looking like this insulation. And by the way, this unit did not come with insulation on the pipes. I put that on myself, and I apparently didn't do a good job. Anyhow, I'm going to come back and wrap that better, but after a year, the insulation is still in great shape. There's sort of like a netting around that insulation. But I keep grass killer sprayed around here so that I don't have to worry about weed eating and tearing up the insulation. Also, I don't want grass to get up into the coils on the side of it. And once in a while, I'll come along with a hose and I'll clean out the coils and make sure they're clean. So even if you have a big air conditioner like that, once in a while you need to clean your coils. The hardest part of this entire job was drilling that hole in the wall. So that hole goes through the brick wall, through the plywood inside of it, through the insulation, and through the sheetrock all the way to the unit mounted inside. I ran the Freon pipes and the drain pipe for condensation down through this gutter pipe. They come out down there. The drain pipe's actually below that. You can sort of see it right there in the back. That works great. This insulation came on these pipes, so when you buy it, you get insulated pipes already. I need to come back and put better wire ties. Anyhow, the thing you got to know about installing something like this is when you do one of these homeowner installed ACs, if you have a problem and you have to call an air conditioning company to come work on it, they're going to tell you no, very likely. When I installed mine, I had a friend come and help with the install. What he did was pull a vacuum on the lines of the unit before we released the Freon into the pipes. I've seen a lot of people who did not vacuum out their lines before they release the Freon, and it won't work nearly as good if you don't do that. plus when you pull a vacuum on your pipes, you're pulling moisture out of the pipes, and so there could be moist air in there. You're pulling the moisture out so it won't interact with your Freon. Anyhow, it was pretty easy to do the install. Ran a piece of conduit along the wall, did that myself, ran it up into this box right here, and inside that box I've got a breaker for that unit and a breaker for this unit. So this is the previous unit that I purchased. It is a Ramsond. I don't know if you can see that. This is another name for garbage. That was a junk unit. I think it ran for maybe 6 months before it quit. So what happened is it quit. I think the capacitor blew up. I called around trying to buy another capacitor, which I'm going to show you the capacitor at the very end of this video. I called around, and that's when I discovered that nobody would touch these units. Everywhere I called, they said, no, we don't sell capacitors for that. So I went to Amazon, eBay, other places trying to find the capacitor. I could not find a capacitor to match the one in that unit. So anyhow, don't buy one of those. The Della unit's been great. It works really good. Have had no problems at all with it. I'm so far very happy with it. All right, so let's go inside and take a look at the way that you can remotely control it with your phone. Okay, so let's look at the app you can use to control the air conditioning from your telephone. So the app is a good backup in case your remote quits working, but I haven't given up on getting another remote. I'm going to keep trying to communicate with Della, and eventually I'll get another remote. You do need the book because the book has some instructions that are not intuitively obvious in the app. So you can get the app either from the Android Play Store or from the iOS App Store. So I've downloaded it. I have an Android phone, so I downloaded it. So let's take a look at it. I'm not going to go through the entire install on the app because it took me about 10 minutes to get it all set up. You have to give it your location. You also have to give it your access to your Wi-Fi. And the app communicates with the air condition, and it gives the air condition access to your Wi-Fi. That's how you can control the air conditioner remotely. So you can open the app, and right here, you can turn it on or off. So you see right now it says that the garage I'm in is 73 degrees. I'm going to turn it on. It's preset to 61 degrees. All right. It'll take a minute for the air conditioner to come on, but you can go into modes and you can select cool, heat, eco, fan, dehumidifier, or auto. You go to fan speed, and of course that just lets you set your fan speed. You go into sleep, and you can set it to go to sleep after a certain number of hours. I don't even use that feature. You go to airflow, and airflow essentially either oscillates your vane at the bottom of the unit or keeps it stationary. Okay, so I'm sitting here editing the video, and one of the things I realized is you cannot delete a schedule. So when you create a schedule through the app on your telephone, you can see that I've got a couple of schedules here. You can't delete it. You're stuck with it forever. There's no way in here to remove that schedule. So I try like holding my finger over it for a minute, and if you do that, it just takes you into the scheduling screen. There's no delete option here. I said, okay, well, what I'll do is just go unselect every day of the week, and I'll save that. When you do that, it gives you a message that the repeat cycle cannot be null. So you have to have at least one day of the week selected. So what I did is I set it to turn off whenever the schedule kicks in. Since I can't remove the schedule, apparently it's going to run whether I want it to or not. What I was trying to do here, I've got it set for 123 because I was trying to do a test and verify that the unit would turn on the scheduled time even if my phone was turned off. So like I turned my phone off at 1:22 p.m. and sure enough the unit did turn on at 1:23 p.m. And then I went to go back and remove that schedule, and I can't remove it. So their app has some good features built into it, but they should have included a way to remove the schedule, and there's just no way here to do it, which is another reason I want to communicate with them. So you can set up a schedule, click normal schedule right there, and you can see that I've got mine set to turn on at 1600. So I click that, and then you can go and set your time. If it's on, you can tell it to either turn on or off. You can preset your temp. You can set your mode to cool, heat, dehumidifier, or whatever, and you can also control your fan speed right there. So that's pretty cool. And one of the things I've noticed is the schedule, I didn't see this in the book, but the schedule must be stored in the unit because even if my phone is turned off, the unit turns on at the correct time. I was surprised at that. I thought for sure that the Della app on my phone is what controlled that, but I think the schedule is controlled in the Della unit, which is pretty neat. So you can have multiple schedules. You can set more than one schedule there. All right, so you can set the timer, which I don't ever use, or you can turn your sound on or off, turn the display on or off, and the display is that 61 that shows up on the unit up there. Mine does not have the self-cleaning feature, so you can't use that. So essentially you can come here and control pretty much every function. You can click the three dots up here and you can get some device information, and here's some other stuff, and you know they show you your IP settings if you're hooked up to the network. Third-party control is where you hook it up to Google Home, which I'm going to show you that in just a couple of seconds. I'm not going to get too deep into the device network, but if you go into device network, it'll show you information about your local network that it's hooked up to. And look, this stuff is not hard to do. If you've never done this, just take your time. All right, so let's go back. Go to scene. So this has a feature that I really like. So this has a high temp turn on. So I've got the air conditioner in my garage, and if the temperature in my garage gets over 85, the unit will automatically turn on. And again, this works even if my telephone is turned off. I think that's a really cool feature. I'm surprised Mr. Cool and some of the other units don't have that same feature built in. So you can just set the conditions here. You say if the temperature is greater than 85, then turn it on, set the temperature to 61, put it into cool mode, and there's some other stuff you can do down here. I thought that was really neat. So you can go here and you can do some other automations also, which I'm not really going to get into that. If you have one of these, you know, just go play around with it some. If you click Me, you can look at how your Alexa or your Google Assistant are set up. So I'm going to go into Google Assistant, and then it tells me that I can select categories of devices. So this Della app works with more than just the Della air conditioner I've got. It works with other Della devices also. So you click Device Control, and then you can select your Della Mini Split, and you click on that and it doesn't do anything. All right, so some devices you can reorder pieces or reorder consumable parts. That's what Smart Reorder's for. Local control doesn't do anything in the app I've got. I'm not really sure what that's for. You can also click Home Management because you can have multiple units you control from your Della app. So you could have them at multiple homes or properties that you own, or just have multiple units inside your house so you can create a home or join a home. So if you click that hexagon icon in the very top, you see all the account stuff, and you can turn your modes on and off, and you can do some other stuff. So if you're interested in this and you buy a unit, just play around with it some, get a feel for what all it does. I'm not going to go into all of it. Okay, so now let's look at what I think is really the coolest thing here. So I'm going to get out of that. I'm going to go back over here to my screen where I've got the Assistant and Google Home. So this is pretty cool. So I can go to Google Home. My Della is set right there. Dismiss that. I can click Climate Device, and then it gives you a button where you can turn it on or off. You see right now the unit is on. Okay, I click the off button and listen for a beep. So that beep meant the unit was turning off. I'm going to turn it back on. All right, and you can set your fan speed, and you can also see the humidity. This is not something you can change, that's display only. So you click the gear up here and you can change your name of it, or you can do some other stuff here. You can just essentially see where it's at and what the name of it is. You click the three dots and that's just help and feedback. I think that's pretty cool. So you can talk to it. So watch this. Turn Della off.
All right, turning Della Mini Split off.
It didn't put the off down here, but it actually did turn the Della off. I think that's pretty cool. So let's click the microphone and do it again. Turn on the Della Mini Split.
Sure, turning Della Mini Split on.
So you notice that right here, it doesn't key, it takes the words and it uses AI to understand what it's supposed to do. It's not like it has phrases that I have to remember and say that exact phrase. I can say it different ways, and Google Home uses AI to interpret what I'm trying to get it to do, and it does that function for me. So you can also do this with the Google Assistant. Turn on the Della.
Sure, turning on Della Mini Split.
So Della was already on at that time. So let's click it again. Turn off my Della Mini Split, please.
Got it, turning Della Mini Split off.
So it went off. All right, so that's really cool. I really think that is a neat feature. And that's honestly, for me, that was one of the selling points, is that I could control it from my telephone. So if I'm not home and I'm on the way home, I can just open up my phone and say, hey, turn it on, and it'll turn on the Della Mini Split. And by the way, this works whether or not you're on your local Wi-Fi. So right now, let me see, my Wi-Fi is turned off. So this is working across the internet. So it works whether if my Wi-Fi is on or my Wi-Fi is off. That really is a big selling point for me. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I really wanted to do a review since I put the mini split in a year ago. A lot of people have asked questions and sent emails and put comments in the videos asking if I still like it and is it worth the money, the $729. Overall, I'd have to say yes. I've had a really good experience with it. The only problems I've had are, number one, the remote does not work sometimes, so I'm glad I can operate it with my telephone. And by the way, on the computer here, you cannot get Google Assistant or Gemini or any of the Google AI products to control it like you can on your phone. So on the phone, you can use Google Assistant or Google Home. You cannot do that on the computer. If somebody knows how to do that, I'd really like to know. So my rating for the Della, I would say I'm going to have to give it a 7 out of a 10. I would give it a higher grade if I could actually get in touch with Della. I have not been able to get in touch with them for 3 days. I've been trying. And also, here's one more thing I forgot about when I was talking about trying to contact them earlier. Another reason I want to contact them is because I want to buy some more capacitors. So this is a capacitor that goes in one of the mini split units. And this is a very critical component. If this thing blows up, which they do in the heat sometimes, you're dead in the water. Your mini split or even your regular air conditioner is not going to work without the capacitor. And the capacitor in the Della unit is a specific type that I have not been able to find. I bought this one for that other Ramsond that I had, and it doesn't go in the Della unit. The one in the Della unit is actually smaller than this. So I want to buy some more capacitors. So I called a local air conditioning company and I tried to buy some capacitors from them, and they wouldn't even talk to me about it. They will not work on these these self-installed mini split units. So somehow I got to get in touch with Della, find out where to buy the capacitors. If you look on Amazon for Della capacitor, you're going to find a lot of capacitors like this, but you're not going to find one specific to the Della. So I need a capacitor, I need a remote control, and I just want to be able to talk with them and get spare parts. So 7 out of 10 is what I'm going to give them. Overall, I like it. It's worked perfect. I've had 0 problems with it. It cools really well. It heats really well. And yeah, anyhow, that's it. It's been a great unit, and I hope it lasts for a long time. All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching.